Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com. Professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video experts at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com for your own sports video consultation. Currently looking for the best camera operator of the 2025 NFL season. These are the best of the best, and we're putting it to the test. Today we are looking at the San Francisco 49ers versus the Atlanta Falcons, Week 7 of 2025. Big shout out to Adam Marino of Sports Idiot Nation. Adam is a lifelong San Francisco 49ers fan. He told me about it the first time I met him and has not stopped talking about it since. So each year he's always rooting for them to put together a championship run, and I've been very impressed with the Niners over the past few seasons, of course. I really like what they're doing and interested to see what they did in Week 7 of 2025. So let's just get right into it. Awesome. Okay. So let's go back here. The pan across. Okay, there's plenty of room here on the sides to tighten up, but I really like what they did there, and they do tighten up really quick. The colors on this are so vibrant. The footage is so crisp and clean. Looks really good. Great start. All right. So this is a good setup here. Within 5 yards on both sides. Starting to zoom out just in case there's a pass, and then zoom back in immediately once they recognize the run. So awesome. Okay, tight top to bottom. Yes. Everybody filling in that space really well. Okay. So they pull out a little farther here at the end. But up until that point, everything, at any given moment is really pretty well tight in this space. I really like it. Let me just throw the box on it just to make sure. Yeah. Awesome. Nice work. Okay, once the ball's away, they zoom out a little farther, but not bad. Okay. Pretty tight top to bottom. I could probably tighten it up, but just in case they start pressing both sidelines, they wanted to leave it off. Not bad at all. 4th down, punting. Okay. Okay, zooming out to make sure they got that receiver, the returner catching the ball, which they did, and then they stay on all of the traffic coming down the field, so that's perfect. Okay. A lot of space behind the defender, not a lot of space behind the running back, so I like that. That makes a whole lot of sense in that 2/3 rule. Okay, if we were to bring that up. Yep. 1/3 from the offense over, middle third, and then the second third to the defense. Okay, zooming out. Decent. They're leaving a little bit of room around the edge. Let's just check it real quick. Yeah, really can't tighten up too much more than this because of the top to bottom. So that actually makes sense. Okay, and then they keep everybody in the shot. You can see the receivers are pressing the sidelines, right? And when they do that, that's the top and bottom of your screen. So you can't stay as tight side to side in a widescreen format. Okay, that works. Third and 5. Yep, again, top to bottom, sideline to sideline. So what I've noticed from San Francisco so far is that they are using the entire width of the field, which is, I'm sure more difficult to defend as a defense, and it's really stretching them out side to side. So, but as a camera operator, they're doing a great job of keeping up with that. Again, okay? So they've got space, but they keep it behind the defense. There's only 2 yards behind the running back. That's something that I've seen from a lot of other filmers, that will keep more space behind the offense than the defense, which doesn't make any sense. So this makes sense, and then they do fill that space really well. So we're into 5 yards on both sides at this point. Yeah, excellent. Awesome. Perfect. Yep. That's fantastic. Okay, they knew the defender was going to step back into that space. They've probably seen it 1,000 times in practice and in games, and just knew it was coming. Okay, they're top to bottom, stretched out, stretching out again, and then now they're going to the middle of the field. Once they stretch everybody out, then they come underneath. Awesome. I like this. Okay. They could get tighter on that, but they don't have to. They used it well. And that's what I've seen so far, is they're using every bit of space really well. Okay, run recognition, immediately stopping and coming back in. Awesome. All right, 2/3 to the defense. Let me just pause it right there. Two-thirds. Yeah, spot on. Very good. Looks good. 4th and 9, and we're punting. Okay. Keeping the punter in the shot, finding where the ball's going to land, and it goes into the end zone. Okay, very good. Great job of keeping everybody in relation to where the ball's at, making sure that you're seeing where the ball's landing, but also keeping everybody in the shot. All right. Nice. Let's back this up for a second. Yep. Yep. Again, safety filling that spot. Okay. Already have 5 yards to the running back side. And everybody's in the shot. I mean, at this point, right here, quarterback comes in back into it, steps back into it. This is all 22. Very good. Five yards to each side. Okay, a little bit more space on this one. I'm going to take a look right at the widest point right here. Okay, just to see where they're at. Okay, you got one more guy here at the bottom of the screen. So right there. And to measure it out. About 75%. Okay. There we go. Make sure my screen is fitting the space there. Yep. Looks good. Okay. Could seriously tighten that one up. But not bad on the whole. Still doing a lot of things really, really well here. Nice. Looks really good. That was really tight. Okay. Alright. So this one, on a run, if you're going to zoom out on a run while everyone's condensing, this is a great example of that, right? Everybody condensed into that space. So that puts you into a much different setup. Okay. Even if you are keeping the quarterback in, which I wouldn't recommend at this point, he's already done what he's going to on this play. Yeah. Or well under 70% at that point. All right. That's why run recognition is a huge part of filming a game. Something I see from a lot of filmers, the ones that are doing it really well, can see that run as soon as the ball's handed off. All right. Okay, route past 5 yards here. Got a lot of space back behind there. Definitely tighten it up. Okay. Whoa. What happened here? Got a good setup. Okay. Just a little control glitch there. Alright. Okay. But what does that do to the framing? Puts you into this range. 70%. Okay. So they're really pressing, the 10 yards behind the defense at this point. There's definitely room to tighten this up, top to bottom. We've got a little bit of space behind the running back, but I'm more interested in, can you tighten this up and then bring this in? Not that it's bad, it's still within 10 yards on both sides, but then to zoom out from there, you're getting into this range, which is 15 yards, and then this range, which is another 10 yards. So at this point, everybody becomes, an ant farm. That's everybody there. Okay. It's about 80%. Decent. It's really pressing top to bottom on that one. Okay. All right. Zoomed out a little wider there towards the very, very end of this, but they're still within good range here all the way through. Okay. Alright, so yeah, really pressing here. There's still a lot of space that you can tighten up, top to bottom, and then as he comes up now, there's a whole lot of extra space. And then what that does is, if you're going to zoom out from there, it puts you into a much different category. Right? If you can use that space effectively, it makes all the difference. But if you're going to zoom out from there, you're going to be into that 70% or less range, and that's not helpful. Okay. Yep. Yep. Run recognition immediately noticed it and came back in. So that's really good. Nice. Whoa. Okay. Okay. I mean, this is a good framing here. There's definitely room to tighten it up. Okay. But then what happens with that space? Do they keep zooming out? No, they're going to use it. Okay, now they're top to bottom using it. Now they're dropping off the guy at the top and then looking down towards the bottom. And then as this play goes on, we go full blimp mode into this range. Okay, this is blimp mode. All right, we're seeing it from the Goodyear blimp, high above the stadium, and there's a whole lot of crowd in this shot, and then that puts you right into this range. Yeah. Alright, when you get into blimp mode, there's a simple process for it. Turn it off. Okay. Blimp mode off, zoom back in. Stay tight. Less grass, more football. Alright. 1st and 15 on the flag. Not sure what happened on that. Okay. It was zoomed out really far, so I'm not really sure where the flag came in, what happened on the penalty. I saw the flag fly way up in the air. Okay. You're pressing top to bottom. You're definitely keeping this guy in the shot as a swing route, but it's going the opposite direction. So there you go. Okay, about 7 yards behind the quarterback. Fills that space. Flags everywhere. Woo. Right here. This is where I want to take a look at it. Okay. Yeah. 80%. 80 to 85%. Solid. I like it. Okay. Whoa. Okay. All right. Okay. So here, I'd like this to stay tighter, but with everybody running everywhere, I understand it. Okay. At some point, it's just going to become a free-for-all, and having half the field in your frame isn't necessarily a terrible decision. This is a free-for-all. This is chaos. People running everywhere. Yeah, I get it. If you can tighten this up and tighten this up, it would be very, very helpful to have people in that range, but that's still that 85 range, right? That's really about as good as it gets. Okay. Totally makes sense to be out like that on this one. Oh, nice and tight here. Let's go. Okay. Yep. Decent. Again, tight. We got tight formations. Question is, can you keep up with them if everybody starts running every direction? I like this. The run recognition. Immediate. I didn't see any pass out of this. Saw it immediately. No routes coming out of that formation, and just a run all day long. So just go ahead and follow it. Nice tight setup. Okay, I feel like we've just kind of crossed into a tighter set here once we crossed into the second quarter. Everything's been really sharp, really tight. Formations have been tighter. Okay, zooming out. Staying in there. That works. 4th and 9. Looks good. It is good. Kickoff. Okay, pan across, dropping the kicker immediately. We've got a lot of extra space. Okay, if I'm really going to nitpick it, the most important thing is seeing the kick here, and then being able to see everybody's movement here. But there's just a lot of extra space here that we can definitely cut down on, or not, maybe not. So top to bottom, to keep the returner in the shot and the defender on this side. Okay, well, that's about 80%. It's really about as tight as you could get it under perfect circumstances, which it never is, right? So really not much more you could do with that. Nice. Yes, I really feel like they got tighter. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes it just takes a couple series to really kind of catch your groove. Can we stick with it? Okay, run recognition. A little bit of zoom out to start. Saw the run, came right back in. Nice. Awesome. Yep. And there you go. You see pressing both edges of both sidelines, top to bottom edges of the shot, and then they're throwing the route across the middle after the defense is all spread out in every direction, right? This is perfect. Nice and tight. Run recognition immediately. Oh, zooming out here and then zooming back in. Okay, that works. Okay, run recognition. Staying with that guy out there. That works. I was run all day long. They saw the guy blocking on this edge. Decided to stay with him. Perfectly fine decision. Yes? Oh, interesting. Kind of feel like that receiver was just... Tight end just got kind of yanked around, I thought. Maybe not. Alright. Okay, hold on a second. Run recognition is huge because if you're zooming out while everyone's condensing, you're gonna have a whole lot of extra grass on this one. Okay, quarterback isn't in the picture anymore. If you want to see what he's doing, he's right there. I'm going to tell you, it's not much. So, he's there. He's just walking back behind the play. Let's focus on the guys down here. Okay, that's your... And which they do, right? They zoom in on it at the end there. Okay. Okay. All right. Pressing top to bottom. Again, using the entire field, sideline to sideline. I mean, if you're going to film sideline to sideline, stop at the edges. So let's look at right in here. Okay, that's sideline to sideline. Okay, everything down here is extra. Behind the quarterback, behind the safety is extra. So when you add it all up, put it down to the corner, about 80%. Okay, so that's where you can tighten that up. Everybody's touching their helmets. Okay. Yes. Awesome. Oh, okay. So I like the way they use the space that they have. Okay, they let everybody fill in. There's no zooming out here, almost none. If it is, it's a very controlled. And we're within 5 yards here, within 10 yards here. Okay, and this is kind of where the point where I would say, okay, the zooming needs to, end well before this. Ball's away there, and you're zoomed out so far that it's kind of hard to see where when the ball is released by the quarterback. But if you miss it, it puts you into this range where you got so much space behind the quarterback. Okay, these are referees. Here's the drone camera, the sky cam. So, I mean, we got 10, 15, 16, 17 yards behind the quarterback. Okay, and more space behind the safety as well. So that'll put you into less than 70% range. Okay, but after the ball's away, incomplete pass, pretty inconsequential. Love to be able to zoom in to make sure you saw who the intended receiver was, but keeping everybody in the shot was the most important thing, which they actually did a really good job of throughout the entirety of that play. Okay, this was decent as well. All right, less than 5 yards behind the quarterback. Let's just check the 2/3. Perfect. Okay. Nice. Using the space well. I like it. Fourth down. Punting. Okay. Awesome. Looks good. Okay. Nice and tight to start here. Run recognition coming right back in. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Some downhill running right there. Love to see it, and I saw every bit of it because of what this cameraman did. So, awesome job. Excellent work. Nice. Top to bottom. Oh, okay. That works. really stretching the top to bottom of the frame. That used to be not as much of an issue before widescreen high definition video, which has not been that long in the grand scheme of things where they switched to that. So prior to that, the square format, it was almost always that you were going to have the issue was going to be players left to right, side to side. Okay, but there is times now where the top and bottom are really being used and you can't get people tight side to side. But you can definitely do it here if you were to zoom up on this and get closer than 60% of your screen being used for football. Less grass, more football. Getting in tight. Within 5 yards on both sides. Okay, awesome. Great job. Even able to see the route at the top of the screen, which I liked. Okay. It's not always about cutting people out of the shot. If they're in the shot and you can see good use of what they're doing there, go ahead and keep them. That was great. This one was great. It was a nice tight formation. Obviously no routes coming out of it, and plenty of reason to just stay in there and recognize the run. This one, routes, complete opposite. Okay. Whoa. Okay. It's good to get out with the routes, but getting out to the point where everything starts to shrink for no reason is not a good plan. Okay, this is again the sky cam and the referee. So let's move past them. Got guys in midair, Mario style, down here at the bottom. All right, and then the rest of this is all players. So let's just see how that matches up here. Just over 70%, 70 to 75%. Okay, it's decent. It works. Five yards on each side. Pitch outside. Okay, that works. Probably would have liked to drop the quarterback sooner than that, but it would have been a way to tighten everything up as the play went away from you. Okay, solid. Looks really good. And San Francisco uses every bit of the field. Got receivers everywhere. I know how that goes. Okay, nice. Look at that. Okay, that works. Tight. Keep it there. No motion, no movement, and straight up the middle. Let's go! Touchdown! It takes all of us. Way to make it happen. Yeah, fantastic shot. Okay, and you could see it. They had the right shot, and they did not have to move it. And you could see, when you've got that kind of confidence, set it up and let it go. He knew it was coming. Straight up the middle. Back of the end zone. Very well done. Okay, nice and tight. Tight top to bottom. That works. Looks really good. 2/3 to the defense. Nice. Okay. Alright, well. Okay. Let's just see here. Right here, they're using a lot of the space really well. This is within 5 yards on both sides, so it really develops into the perfect framing, right? And then we get to this point, balls away. Okay, really don't need to zoom out any farther from here. So if you can recognize that the ball's away and keep it tight, you could even keep it tighter from where they're at now. Right about here. Okay, that would be tighter, but I mean that's still 85%. Okay, but from this point forward, it's kind of gonna go off the rails a little bit. We're zooming out and well down into this range. Okay, before zooming back in. But ball's away. Runner's going out of bounds. That works. Okay. Oh! He got stuck. Well. Okay. Okay. Within 10 yards. Top to bottom, you can tighten it up. And then here, just recognizing what's going on. Okay, got extra referees on both sides, a lot of extra space at the top, a lot of extra space at the bottom. Tightening up would make sense. So, whew. Man, whatever the defender did to loop around and make that sack, forced fumble, they're going to see every bit of it. Okay. All right. So, can you be any tighter here to start? Yes. Okay. We're within 10 yards, kind of closer to 8 to 10 yards there. And then zooming out from there, it can become an issue, right? So you can continue to gain space on the sides. All right. Pulls away. And zoom back in. Not bad. Oh. Hey. Defender did the same thing. Okay. Right back at you. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah. So right here, it's chaos. There's balls flying around and big guys are running around with it. Not sure what's going on in there. You can tighten it up, obviously, but who knows? Okay. Special teams, we're going to kick it. No motion. Very little camera movement there. Not bad, though. And it's good. Special teams. Kick is away. Zooming out a little bit. Zooming back in. Okay. It's decent. You can tighten that up a little bit. No reason to zoom out on a play like that. Just straight pan across can work and keep things nice and tight. Okay, top to bottom looks good. Okay. That works. Nice job. Just throwing it away. That works. Okay, it was halftime. Third quarter. Straight pan across, zooming in already. That helps. Okay, helps to keep everything tight. And the guy's going soaring through the air. Holy moly. Solid. Nice and tight. Let's go. Into the eye. Following the lead blocker. Okay. Solid. Motion across from the shotgun. Motion across again. Using the sidelines top to bottom. Yeah. A lot of zooming out once the play develops, but up until that point, staying really tight. Keeping everybody in the shot. Motion across again. Okay, hold up. Right about there. Less than 70%. All right. Okay. So using the frame well, they're zooming out, expecting that these guys are going to continue to press, which they do, right? Pressing the edges of the shot. At this point, this is about as wide as you're going to go. Ball's away, passes down to the receiver down on this side, and at that point you can start to zoom in. There is some zooming out after. Once the quarterback releases the ball, you can start to zoom back in at that point. Zooming out here doesn't make a whole lot of sense because these guys up here aren't really doing anything. They're not going to make an impact on the play at all. This defender can still run over and get into the play if he's really booking it, and if the play goes that direction, he's probably going to have to take an angle this direction. So if he is going to get in the play, he's gonna have a lot of work to do to get over there. All right. I formation, straight up the middle, following the lead blocker. Perfect run recognition. Looks great. Okay, 2/3 of the defense. Yes. Motion across. And then the handoff. Okay, the reason I mentioned the motion is because it can affect, depending on the setup that you have. So if it doesn't, though, there's no reason to make any adjustments, right? So a lot of this motion is it doesn't really change the side to side of the formation, and so the filmer is recognizing that and not making any adjustments. And right there, they actually tightened up. Okay. Whoa, hey. Okay. A lot going on here. Motion coming across. after the play, coming behind the line of scrimmage, and then pass it to the tight end coming across. So let's see here. Yep. Just came out a little wide with it. Ended up a little wider than needed for this one. Nice and tight. To start, run recognition. Okay, could probably stay tighter on that. Recognizing the run just a little bit sooner, or recognizing that it's not going to affect the people downstream, aren't going to affect much. They really weren't running any routes at that point. Okay. All right. So right here, just recognizing what's going on, you got trips to the left. Okay, well, at this point, we're out pretty wide. Okay, if we're keeping the quarterback in it, widening out. Right there. 70%. Fourth and 11. I say kick it. Okay, a little bit of zoom in there, not necessary. You've already got a really tight shot. You already see all the detail you need to. No reason to make any adjustments to that. Just let it play out and let the people watching it see exactly what they need to without any adjustments from the filmer. All right, zooming out on the kickoff. Hope. Almost made it all the way. Kicker got back in the shot. Thought he was going to jump in and make a tackle, but he backed up. So it's all good. First and 10. Okay. This is run, counter, coming back this way. Okay. Let's just take a look at it. Yep, we're at 70% again. So run recognition is so important. If you can catch on just a little bit sooner. Okay. Get in the frame here. Works. Whole lot of sideline there, but after the play. Okay. Like to keep the camera pointed at the field. Just as a general rule, I mean, that's kind of rule number one is point the camera at the field. But if at all possible, even as people run off to the sidelines, keep them on the edge, put them right on the edge of the shot, right? Because they're running off the edge of the playing surface. You can definitely get a little bit of it, but the more you see outside of the football field itself, the more focus gets pulled away from what you're trying to accomplish here. And I'm looking at an all 22 because I want to look at all 22 players for them as much as possible, and filming as much of what makes sense of this play as possible. Okay, what would make sense here is once the ball is thrown, to start to zoom up. This is a play away from you. As things go away from you, perspective it changes, for distance, that it will actually make things look smaller. So the natural thing to do here would be to zoom in, but here we zoom out. Okay, staying out wide, and then zooming out even later on right here, which seems like an errant zoom. It seems like they were probably trying to zoom in at that point. Okay, just went the wrong direction with it, but if you can recognize that a whole lot sooner, like right here, right, and start to zoom in, that will avoid a lot of this extra space here, which is a significant amount of space. Okay, let's just take a look at it. Yep, that's everybody, right? If you're going to drop out these guys, which I would, that's going to tighten that up a whole lot more. And that would put you right about here. Okay. And if you're doing that, now we've got a whole lot tighter shot. And, it's 50% or less of what's actually happening. These guys are rarely not doing anything back there. Okay. And it's touchdown, and it's awesome. Everybody loves it. It's good. I like the pink shoelaces. All right. Kickoff. Straight pan across. No reason to zoom out, but they did, which just makes everybody a whole lot smaller. Whoa. Held on to the ball. It's decent. Really interested in making sure we see where the ball lands for kick statistics. Okay. All right. Filling in that space behind the safety. Excellent. Motion coming across. All right. Interesting. So, what I noticed here is the quarterback has this interesting little motion after he hands off the ball. He does this, and then he kind of loops back this way. So I saw that, and I was like, oh, this might be kind of a bootleg rollout, thrown to this guy. And I think the cameraman probably saw that for a second. You can see there's just a brief moment where he goes, okay, here's the rollout, and oh, nope, we're zooming up. Okay, so it's good to pay attention to that stuff, seeing that action and saying, hey, I might actually need to be out with that guy. And once they recognize that that's not the case, then go ahead and start to zoom in. But even if it takes you a little bit longer to make sure that you get over to the run away from you, it makes sense to keep that guy in the shot. Okay, it's there's very fluid rules to this. There are more guidelines really. So if does it make sense? Does it make sense to keep a person in? Does it make sense to drop them out? Does it make sense to be out this wide, for this shot at this point? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. 80%. Okay. Zooming out from there, probably not a great plan, right? Zooming out. Okay, I'm saying none of these guys are doing anything back here as far as impacting the play at this point of this play. So I'm looking right here. and that's 50%. So, all right. Third and 1. I'm thinking it's gonna be a run. Straight up the middle. Oof. Stuffed it. Let's go. All right. Okay, just zooming out at this point. Okay, there's that. This guy's pretty much given up on the play. If you want to zoom out even farther to pick up the guy up here, you can do that. And there's nobody around him, so he's just kind of standing out there. 70%, less than 70. Yeah. If we can just recognize the run, it's 3rd and 1. They're trying to get a yard, right? It would make sense to zoom out if they're gonna, do a play action and hit some receivers, but where are we zooming out with receivers here? There's really nowhere that a receiver's even close to making me want to zoom out on that. Fourth. Punting? Sure are. Okay. Punt team on the field. Punter, ball's away. Kick is up. Returner receives it and is running forward. Now we're starting to zoom up. Decent. Looks good. All right. 1st and 10 going the other way. Okay. Whoa. Alright. So you got a lot of space behind you here. There's almost full 10 yards behind the quarterback. Got 5 yards to the safety side. Now we've got 10, 12, 15 yards there. And the ball's away. Still zooming out. And now we're zooming back in. Okay. Five yards, both sides. That's a tight setup. Nice. See a little bit of that rollout action from the quarterback again. And they're zooming back in. Run recognition, spot on. Solid a mile away. Okay. If it was a rollout, you'd see receivers doing a whole lot more of, getting open downfield. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So here is a point where the motion can actually help you. It's good to not have knee-jerk reactions just because you see something happening. But in this case, it would make sense to tighten up just a little bit, to tighten up the frame before the snap of the ball. Because if you're going to be out this wide to start, it could just get wider from there. Unless you use the frame really well, which they did. So, there you go. Okay, within 10 yards behind the quarterback, 5 yards behind the safety. Okay. Alright, so there's a lot of space back here, and this is a good chunk of real estate, which also adds to the top of your screen as well. Alright. Again, these are referees. This is the sky cam. Alright. Gotta tighten up behind the safeties. About 80%. Okay, get tight. Oh boy. Okay. At the widest point, once the ball's away, right there. %70. Okay. Two-thirds of the defense. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So I like how everybody falls into place right here. Okay, this is good. This is decent. You know, we were within 10 yards here, 10 yards here. If he can recognize that the quarterback, the guy who's got the ball, just threw it, right? As soon as that happens, there's no more options for throwing the ball. So all these receivers running downfield become obsolete to this play. The defenders recognize it. As soon as the ball's away, they can't throw the ball again. So they're not defending these people anymore. They're breaking loose of these people and heading towards the person who's receiving the ball. And watch them. They're all going to make that move. Boom. Okay, they all change directions and start heading this way. All right. So once you recognize that ball passes away, you can zoom in a whole lot sooner than that. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Motioning into the perfect framing. So, you know, top to bottom, you really can't zoom in a whole lot more. You probably could, but watch what happens. Motion to behind the quarterback, fills in that space, and then the safety adjusts, accommodates by filling in the space on the other side. So, yep. And it's a good thing he did, because the safety now is in the position to make that play if he needs to, right? And these are the things that that coaches look at, right? Did the safety make the right decision here to adjust his position before the play, and does he make the right footsteps to get to the right position? You know, depending on how that play is going to go. And from my perspective, it looks like he did. But the coaches can make that determination. Okay. And they can, because the cameraman did exactly what he needed to on that. Oh boy. Okay. Zooming out. Okay. Is there a reason to zoom out as aggressively as you do here? No. Not really. You got 10, 12, 15 yards. 10 yards here. Okay, behind the quarterback, behind the safety. %70. Okay, sometimes it's just an errant zoom. If you just hit the controls wrong, but that's the task at hand, right? Is to not do that. Just practice having the right equipment, you know, being good at using the equipment you have. Interesting. Really, the safety fills that space really fast. Stepping up, and now he's backing off. Okay. No play. All right. Third and 14. It's pretty good. 4th and 14. We're going to punt this one away. Awesome. I'm glad I got to see that. What a fantastic punt. Nice. Nice tight setup. Run recognition. Zooming in on it. Looks really good. Again, tight. Yes. Motion changes a little bit. Receivers running in every direction. Executed flawlessly. I love it. Fourth quarter. Flipping the sides. Going the other direction. Perfect. Perfect. This is it. Okay, so this is what I've been looking for all game. Alright, this safety's within 5 yards. Quarterback's within roughly 5 yards. Safety's within 3 yards. Quarterback's within 5 yards. Okay, quarterback still has a lot of extra space behind him, but right here, starting to move that camera right to left and then zooming in. So pretty tight on a pass play. I thought that was really good. Yes. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, top to bottom, really using the space. Awesome. Great job. Third down, 3rd and 3. Normally I'd say that'd be a run situation. They're kind of backed up here. They need it. They're going to pass. Kind of see that pass all day long. Long ball. Does he get it? Nope. Awesome job, though. I got to see every bit of that. 4th and 3. Punting. Okay. So I decided to block out a lot of the extra information around the top and bottom just to make it more clear, focus on the framing for this grading. But just for context, this is a really tight game. It's been a really tight game the entire time. It's 13-10 San Francisco in the 4th quarter, and they just had to punt the ball away. They wanted to, keep the ball out of the Falcons' hands for the remainder of this game, obviously, and punting it away and giving them a chance to come down the field and score is not ideal, right? So let's see what happens here. Moving down the field, spread it out. Single back, swing route out to the outside, looks great. Okay. Interesting setup here. Deep slot into lead blocker. Okay. Decent. Okay. Okay. You can definitely tighten it up a bit, but it was right on the border. Okay, can we tighten this up at all here? Because once this play develops, it's pretty wide. Okay, everybody condensing here. That puts it in a nice tight range here. Right about there, and that's less than 70%. What can we do to tighten this up? All right, top to bottom, you're not really as tight as you could be here at the start of the play. And if you're not tight to start, it can get out from there. So if you're starting at 85%, where does it go? And you lost a receiver down on this side, so now that changes everything again. If 85% is really kind of on the border before the snap of the ball, it's going to shrink from there, right? It can. And that puts you to 75%. And then at this point, zooming out, probably not the best option. And that, is going to shrink it down from there as well. Okay. Less than 70. Okay. So that's kind of the reason for wanting to stay as tight as possible, right, at the snap, or at least within 5 yards. Keep that 5-yard buffer. And you don't want to drop guys out of the shot. You don't want to have people run right off your screen. But there are filmers that are doing this in the NFL. They are staying as tight as humanly possible and then staying with everybody. And it takes practice and it takes skill, but it is possible. 85% to start, 80. Okay, a lot of space back here behind the safety. Down to 70%. Okay. Tight. This is good. Okay. And then the run recognition, it's decent. Fourth and 1, going for it. Want 1 yard? Gotta get 1 yard. Does not get 1 yard. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can we tighten this up at all? Yeah. Can we tighten this up at all? Yeah, if we were tighter to start, it probably would have just happened naturally. Can we tighten this up at all? Yeah, this is way out there. Okay. Okay. All right. Dish out to the running back. You can recognize that and zoom in. You'll start to see players at every level start to change direction once they see the ball. You might be zoomed out as far as you can to keep everybody in the shot and not able to see the ball at that point. You're paying attention to all the guys running everywhere. But once you see people start changing direction and heading one way, you see the entire defensive squad, put their foot in the ground and start going a different direction. That's a pretty good indicator that it's either a run or a dish out or ball's away, in some way or another. So at that point, you can stop your zoom, reevaluate, see where the ball's at, see where everybody's running to, and then just zoom in that direction. Okay, if you are keeping up with everybody running everywhere, they're all running somewhere else now anyway, so just keep up with them going that way. Run, no routes, no reason to zoom out. Get small quick. Nice. Run. No routes. No reason to zoom out. Everything gets small. Less grass. More football. 3rd and 1 in the 4th quarter. Quarterback sneak. Saw it a mile away. Okay. Quarterback's leaning forward before he even snaps the ball. Okay. I'm not sure that's entirely legal, but I have formation, nice tight setup, and pulling it back and dropping back and throwing, scrambling around, chaos ensues, and that's pretty decent. Nice tight setup. Nope, not happening. That's too bad. That was a good setup. It's always frustrating when you have the perfect setup and everybody's tight. You got a nice tight shot and you're ready for it. And then there's no play. But it should just inspire you to be ready for it again for the next play, which they are. Look at that. Looks good. Yes. Okay. Decent. Pitch out this direction. Whole lot of zooming going on. Okay. It's an instant run heading this way. Makes sense just to let it happen. Okay. That looked really good. And that 23 is kind of all over the place, huh? Just get him the ball every which way they can. Hey, there he goes again. Yup. Holy smokes. Woo. That'll work. Alright, so that changes the game, doesn't it? 20-10. 2:26 on the clock. Yeah, baby. Let's go. Okay. Filmer's in it. Okay, in it to win it. Okay. Decent. A lot of extra space, but they used it well. Alright. Okay. Kind of expecting pass all day long here, which makes sense in a 20-10 game, right? Okay. That works. 2-minute warning. 1st and 10. Okay. Decent. Second and 10. Passing situation, down 10 points. 2-possession game. Looks like they might have taken the ball away. Nope. They kept it. It was just a sack. So 1st and 10, flags on the field, throwing the ball away, saving the time. Okay. Okay. It's decent. Minute 38. I think they're going to pass. Yeah, I was right. Okay. Okay. It works, keeping everybody in the shot. I always want to be as tight as possible. But this is just passing down after passing down after passing down. You definitely want to keep everybody in the shot. 4th and 10. Game over. I think they're going to kneel on it. Victory formation. Oh, they might have to run some plays to keep the clock moving here. Straight to the middle. Phew. Fantastic. There's that guy again. Sheesh. Okay. Not this time. Straight ahead. Number 3. Awesome run. Got some yardage. Took some time off the clock. This is victory. Kneeling on it. Perfect formation. Perfect setup. Perfect play to end the game. Best play in football, according to my head coach. This is it. There it is. All right. Awesome job, San Francisco 49ers filmer. This is a difficult setup. This is a very high vantage point and very tight margins for a filmer to keep up with. Okay? But this filmer was able to do so. Out of 151 plays, 128 of them were positive. Okay, that's 85% of the plays were positive, which is great. Okay, there's room for improvement there, obviously. 23 plays where they weren't as tight as they could be, that they zoomed out way farther than they should have. And certainly other plays where it was kind of right on the border, right? So just tightening things up and practicing keeping guys as close to the edge as possible. 44% of the time, they had excellent shots where it was really kind of as good as it was going to get, which gave them a little bit of a bonus, putting them to 89.21%. So great job from the San Francisco 49ers for 2025, and best of luck in 2026.